Buying behaviors have really changed over the last number of years. Buyers are making decisions very differently. They are crowdsourced, they are peer-informed, and they're very consumption-focused on what they're purchasing, meaning they only want to pay for what they buy when they're getting it. An example in the B2C world is media streaming. Business-to-business companies are a great example around web services. When we think about how we're making decisions, we're going out and we're doing a lot of self-educating before we're ever even contacting a company. So companies need to think about the content that they're providing on their website and through all digital channels. When companies engage with customers, they need to leapfrog over the get-to-know-you basics. Consumers have an expectation that you know my name by now, you know my email, you know my basic information. So I'm expecting the way that you communicate with me to be very personalized. I expect it to be in context, and it also needs to be interesting. Attention spans are shorter, and companies need to be interesting, or else their customer is going to get distracted very quickly. We think about how we're making decisions. We're going out and we're doing a lot of self-educating before we're ever even contacting a company. So companies need to think about the content that they're providing on their website and through all digital channels. And the interactions that they have need to be very personalized and contextual and relevant to help progress through those decision-making processes. If brands can't make these changes, they're going to become dinosaurs. They're not going to be relevant, they're not going to be interesting, they're not going to be engaging, and they're going to get disrupted by their competitors who are doing those things very successfully. Business expectations are being very driven by consumer experiences. And a great example of this would be if I am your distributor and I place an order with you and it's being drop shipped to my client, I should have transparency to that. It should be very seamless. It should be very easy for me to access that. If I place an order for pizza, I have through an app the ability to see, is it in the oven? Is it out of the oven? Is it being delivered yet? So if I can do that when I order a pizza, why can't I do that when I'm your valued distributor? Companies are being challenged with how they manage the relationship journey through that awareness, education, nurturing customer, and then advocate. Companies are being pushed to move through that journey with their customer against the buying cycle versus the way companies want to sell. One example is a company that we've worked with both in the US and the UK, and they have a lot of different audiences that they engage with, meaning contractors, governments, municipalities, engineers, architects, and what they're having to do is learn to personalize the content to who that audience is and where they are in that journey. And that's something that we've been able to help them map out those personas and help them map out the engagement process to each of those audiences. There is a lot of fear in marketing organizations and sales organizations about all the changes that are going on in consumer buying patterns right now. And when we engage with a company and we help them develop that strategy, it's a roadmap that's very actionable. And there's a lot of comfort in understanding these are the steps that we can walk through. And what we do is create marketing heroes in an organization so that they can guide their organization through those transformations. ARC engages with companies to help them develop a strategy really at 3 different levels. So there's marketing and technology alignment, there's customer experience, and there's digital transformation. We start out with a pre-assessment survey. So we want to understand more about their business, how they perceive themselves, how their prospects and customers perceive them. We do industry research on them, we do competitive research on them, and we do web analytics insights that we do before we're even on site for workshops. After we've done that pre-assessment survey and research ahead of time. Then we engage with clients on on-site workshops that cover people, process, technology, and data. And we go through an exercise of understanding who are the personas or the types of audience or stakeholders that they engage with. And from there, we go through a series of facilitated interviews and questions on site with them, with typically senior leadership in marketing, IT, customer experience, and oftentimes even the CEO or Chief Customer Officer. After we complete the on-site workshops, then our team works offline and we put together a roadmap to help the company understand leveraging current investments that they've already made, future investments that we'll recommend across people, process, technology, data, and we help them understand how they'll progress on that marketing maturity scale and go from having a foundation in place to being prepared, becoming a sophisticated organization around customer experience, all the way through then making advanced insights into their client experiences. It's very interesting when we work with companies and we're engaging both with the marketing team, the IT team, sometimes the sales team, the service team. It's interesting how siloed they often are inside their own organization, and sometimes we're facilitating conversations that they have not even had amongst themselves yet. Just in the room, in that day, bringing the teams together, we have aha moments with them and facilitating that communication, helping them create a common language and understand what they're doing across the organization. One thing companies can do is put themselves in the shoes of the people that are interacting with them as an organization. So whether that's a prospect or a customer or a partner or a vendor, put themselves in their shoes and walk through what that experience looks like and think about what are the contextual experiences that they're going through, what kind of content is available to them, and as a company, how are you recording that? Thinking about how do we create that data and understand that in a way that we can take actions against it. So I would challenge an organization to think about what kind of data are you capturing, where are you capturing that from, and then of that data, what is actionable that you can respond to and you can drive insights from. Companies need to think about their marketing campaigns and their marketing content a little bit differently. There's a traditional way of thinking of marketing of we're going to invest in marketing and we should see this revenue. But as we start to break it down and think about the relationship journey through the stages of awareness, education, nurturing, customer, advocacy, we need to measure the campaigns a little bit differently as well. So the content should be focused. If it's on awareness, it should be focused on awareness. And that means we're measuring awareness campaigns not by revenue, but by conversions, right? And we're also not thinking about things in terms of how many clicks do we have, but are we progressing someone through that journey or progressing someone through that pipeline? So the campaign itself needs to be viewed differently as what's the actual goal of the campaign as it applies to the journey. And then the measurements of that campaign have to be thought of differently as well.